I'm Ashley.
I'm Sean Thomas.
I'm Jake.
I'm Jordana.
I'm Kara.
And we're from Destin, Florida. Listening to the Weekly Pour podcast with TBT and Ace.
What's up, guys? Cassandra Carson here from Paralandra and the Life Project, and you're listening to the Weekly Pour podcast.
Hey guys, it's LEONE, and you're listening to the Weekly Pour. Great metalheads, crazy music, because we all bleed metal. Ciao.
My name's Reggie, and you are listening to the Weekly Pour podcast. Thanks so much for joining the most amazing twosome out there.
Hey, this is Chef Jason from Bad Company Barbecue, and you're listening to TBT and Ace on the Weekly Pour podcast.
This is Kathy from Music and More Records in New Hartford, New York, providing you with all of your music needs. You are listening to the Weekly Pour podcast with TBT and Ace. Rock on, guys!
The Weekly Pour podcast, proving time and time again that success is 1% inspiration, 98% perspiration, and 2% attention to detail. Here are your hosts, TBT and Ace.
What's up, guys? It is me, it is TBT, and that guy over there is Ace. And would you look at that, right in the middle, we would like to welcome back Leather Leone. Welcome, Leather. We are so thrilled to have you back.
Hey guys, thank you. I'm really glad to be back. Thanks for having me as always.
Absolutely. Now, the last time we talked, you were in the middle of finishing up your album, and you couldn't give us details about too much. We did get a sneak peek of the album cover, but we couldn't talk about the tracks. We couldn't talk about anything because you were looking for somebody to get your release going. And here we are, just a few weeks after the release. And the best way for me to put it, holy shit.
Wow, thank you.
That
good record,
freaking
Thank you,
album.
thank you. It's a good record.
That album is amazing. For everybody, just remember, we've got the chat up. Kathy has jumped in the chat first thing. She said that she's excited for tonight. We're excited. We're going to talk to Leather about every track that's on this album. We're going to talk about Vinny, her amazing guitarist, and I'm pretty sure he played a lot more of the instruments on it as well. Your videos that you've done down in South America, my gosh. So we're going to turn this over to you and let you start. Tell us about getting this thing finally released.
Gotta feel good.
Well, it did feel good, and I have to tell you, insecure is the wrong word, but I was a little iffy, like, people are still on the Chastain thing, and Leather 2 wasn't really picked up. It was just a lot of distribution deals, but I just threw it out there. I just reached out to everybody that I knew for 127 years. And SPB, my friend Ali, just really jumped on it quickly. So I went with him. And anyway, it's, I've never really been on a major label. It's so freaking amazing being on a label, the support and everything that you get. But I knew it was a good record. So I worked my ass off on it. But again, as I said before, it's the first record that I've ever really written from start to finish with Vinny. We were really excited, and we just knew. I know what the metal community expects from me, and I think I gave it to him.
I think you gave it to him tenfold.
Oh, you certainly did. You certainly did. The guitar work is stellar. The drums really stand out.
That was the one thing, and I don't know if I said this when I saw you guys before, but I don't do extreme metal, but I love fucking extreme metal. Lamb of God, Arch Enemy, Ginger, they're all in my playlist. But I wanted those drums. I said, I don't know why traditional metal can't have fucking insane Lamb of God drums. So I just kept drilling it into the Hertz brothers. And kind of when you're recording and mixing, you don't really hear it. And I was going to Vinny, shit, it's not there. And everyone was saying to me, just wait. Yeah, they're perfect. The drums are perfect. Yeah, I just wanted to rumble. I wanted a freaking wall. And Braulio, who was part of my touring band back in the day, 16, 17, and also did too. I mean, he's just a monster. He's a freaking monster.
So all in all, now that we've got this released, how long did the recording session take from first track all the way to done?
We were there for 3 weeks. And we have actually been talking about it where we would have wanted another week. But as far as vocally, guys, it was a blessing. I mean, you have to remember Chastain Records, I had like 10 hours to sing, 12 vocals. And this one, I really took my time. I did a song a day if I felt like it. It was amazing. And the studio's amazing. You stay upstairs and it's so warm and inviting, and they treat me like the queen that I am. And no, there was no stress. And again, we had no label at that. We had nothing. We had nothing to lose, So
Which studio
we just took our
Which studio did you get to use?
Hertz Studios in Poland. It's where Behemoth, Hate, Vader, Creator, all that.
Yeah, all these real good metals. Yeah.
I mean, it permeates out of the freaking walls. I mean, it's like they played like some Behemoth for me. They're just metal. They're from a metal freaking background, and that's what they do. And they just had a lot of great suggestions in the mix. They would put like that boom. I mean, they just did a lot of extreme metal things that I really liked, and they would be like, "Hey, try this." Behemoth did this. I mean, just amazing. I will never go anywhere else. And people always talk to me about the finances. I got to tell you, the prices, and you guys live here, the prices here are so inflated that it was the same amount of money or less expensive for us to fly there and do it. Yeah.
That's actually impressive.
Right, and stay 3 weeks and do it. Not just we got 3 days or something like that.
Yeah, so much fun. Yeah, it was great.
So
I'm a vocalist. I would get up at noon and start singing. I'm like, don't push me, dude. I'm coming.
So you've got 10 tracks on this album. How many tracks didn't make it that are sitting on a file somewhere?
We have a couple. And it's funny because again, we're talking about Vinny, the fucking perfectionist. There's a song called "Damage Is Done," and he's like, "Oh, I want to do." No, we aren't doing anything. It's perfect the way it is. We have a couple songs, and we're writing all the time. I know that you need to strike when the iron's hot, so I just want to get into the studio as soon as we can next year. But basically, everything got on there.
Outstanding. So what was your, did you have a track that stood out as like your most favorite?
Off With Your Head. I love my vocal delivery in that nair. It was a really aggressive song for me, and at the time I was looking into the queens like Queen Victoria and Queen Catherine and all those people that used to, everyone thought that it was the kings that were beheading people. No, it was a pussy that was telling them to do that. So it was kind of a weird time, and I had gone through a personal situation, and when I heard that nair, yeah, Off With Your Head has been my favorite since the conception. I love it.
Yeah.
It's a really intense vocal for me. I love it. Yeah, it's good.
Shadows is one of my top ones. I love Shadows.
Really good.
I was telling you off the air, Ace and I both were telling you off the air how much we both absolutely dig guitarists. And to hear Vinny's work on this album, I mean, it is just, he's moved for me personally into my top 3 guitarists. And that's just from listening to the stuff that he does, and from him shredding to his solos. I mean, it's just absolute badass metal.
I'm so glad to hear you say that. I have to make sure he sees this podcast because I'm so proud of him. And like I said, everything is so thought out for him. And we were initially going to use another guitar player, the shredding guy that we know, because he's like, look, I don't really shred. But after we were starting to record this record, it just didn't fit. It's like his soul was what fit on that record. And he doesn't get his talent. And I have to tell you, sometimes we'd be sitting there, and I learned a lot about guitars. It's those little itty bitty pieces that make the whole song, and I'd be like, is that really necessary? But yeah, his mind is just the way it works. And I am grateful for everyone I've ever worked for, but his main objective is the song. To push my vocals out there in the song. I mean, I'm so proud of him.
Right, and the guitar work is fantastic, but it's not overplayed, and that's what you're talking about. What's good for the song? So there's a lot of room in there for your vocal to breathe. We
So
have to,
much. Yeah,
right,
so much. Yeah.
because it's the song and it's leather, so that's what we
Yeah.
want if we're
Yeah.
making this work. And there's a lot of room for your
Yeah.
vocal.
Yeah, and it was a different thing. I mean, Chastain, it was in the 80s. He was a total shredder. It really wasn't about me, although I think we did great together. It was just a different form of songwriting, again, that I wasn't used to. And sometimes, and he's very eclectic. I mean, like I said, he listens. He came from extreme metal. He was in an extreme metal band, and I was always in the studio going, he'd be like, no. I'm like, can't we just do a line? But his heart is in melody. Like I said, anywhere from Kiss to like Vixen and old Bread songs, and he's just into melody. And a lot of times, you guys, it would freak me out. I'm like, dude, this is a metal record. It's a metal record,
Right.
But he knew. I trusted him. After a while, I just shut up. I
Well,
trusted him for sure.
even him being the melodic person and this being a metal record on a song like "Who Rules the World" that is fast paced. It's like I'm going to kick your ass. There's so
Yeah.
much melody
Yeah.
in that. If you
Yeah.
really listen to it, and I just, my gosh, it's just badass.
Thank you. Like I
Oh.
said, I have to send him this podcast. Send me the link because, yeah, he just, and again, that's the beauty of, and again, I'm from the U.S., I'm proud of it, but we're all jaded here, especially people my age. We're jaded. Oh, we never made coliseums. Oh, we don't make any money. They just want to play. He just wants to write and create. He's a songwriter. He just wants to be a songwriter.
Does he
So,
have quite a following down south?
yes, he does. He really does, and he's done bigger gigs than me. He's played the Diano. He gets picked and choose to do all kinds of. But yeah, he's got a huge following down there. But
He
it doesn't
seems like a
affect
very
him.
mellow, kind of just a real honest guy. I mean,
He is. Sometimes I'm like, dude, you're in your 30s, wake up. But no, he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he just works out and writes. I mean, Vinny's idea of going out is having 2 beers, and listening to Kiss songs. I mean, I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed.
it's not a bad night.
I said that because I'm not a Kiss fan, but I got to tell you, he turned me on to a lot of Kiss that I didn't. I only know the hits.
Right.
Man, Gene Simmons can write a freaking Naked City. I mean, wow, what songwriters, right? So that's what he goes for. And again, I'm just really proud of him. I love him so much. He's a
I'll
good
just
guy.
say now, 80s Kiss is very underrated. Yeah, it gets
Yeah,
picked up.
I had no idea. I just knew, rock and roll all night and all this
Right.
sex bullshit that Stanley does. But yeah, he really turned me on to some good stuff. Yeah.
So Kathy just wanted she threw this out. She said that her favorite off the album is "Who Rules the World." She's woken up on numerous occasions in the morning with that song in her head. That's not a bad song to have in your head. Absolutely.
No.
And the weird thing about that song, because Vinny wanted to be very prepared and we didn't have a chorus to that frickin' song, it just wasn't fitting. I'm like, the verses are killer. So we kind of did that at the last minute, and then we didn't like the way we had recorded it, so we had the brothers cut it all up. And yeah, it's a cool song. It's a cool song. Yeah.
You said before we went on air, there was a lot of just talking, discussion, arguments, fighting. Is that a good part of the process, just to finally hash these things out? And you're saying, I want metal, 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 and he's saying it's going to be metal. Just wait.
Yeah. But I've always been unpleasant in the studio. I mean, I come on there and I'm a bitch in the studio. I'm very claustrophobic. I don't like to be told what to do. Oh, yeah, don't fucking tell me how to sing. So I don't take direction well. So Chastain will tell you, oh my God, Chastain just used to walk out and go, let me know when you're done, Miss Leather. It's very diva of me. I think that I know everything. And I got to tell you, through this recording process with Vinny, since I was involved with everything, I realized a lot of stuff about my vocals that I thought sounded good and it doesn't. I had to learn how to hold back. I learned so much. But yeah, that's just commonplace for me. And I think probably a lot of singers are like that, or there's some band member that's like that. I have a problem with authority, and I would look at Vinny and go, look, motherfucker, I've been doing this for 40 years. You're 30. You're going to tell me what to do? So, yeah, we had a lot of that. And he would just walk away for a while, and then he'd be like, okay. Because he was usually right.
But you weren't going to admit that then.
No.
So a producer like Mutt Lang would have a hard time producing you because he's so into what you're doing as a singer and he's making you do it over and over and over.
Yeah, in all honesty, you guys, it comes from insecurity, right? I think I'm such a badass, but sometimes I get in that studio and sometimes I just really get disappointed because what I hear in my head doesn't come out properly. So I think about that. If I was ever with like a real producer, I'd get my ass kicked. Yeah. I'd be like, fuck. I would go like to Vinny and the Hearst brothers. Fuck you! You come in here and sing it. So it's.
So this was when it was produced was kind of a group effort. Vinny, the Hearst brothers, you. Is that
Yeah,
how
we
this
all sat there and did it together. Yeah, of course they did the final mixing and mastering, but yeah, I mean, I would listen. And also, I have to tell you, I don't have an ear like Vinny. After a while, it would sound the same. I mean, how many of the same lines can you listen to? But he's so amazing that he would hear it. I would hear it the next day, but I mean, that's such an art to record vocals. And the brothers would switch off. They would do like 6 hours and then go and bring the other one in because you get so burnt out, And I hear everything. Oh yeah, that's good. And Vinny would go, no. So yeah, it was really great. So I
that's
guess
one of the things. That's one of the things TBT and I talked about. One of the things TBT and I talked about prior to this was the production and the sound. I like the sound because it's raw. There's not a lot of bullshit on this record. There's, we don't have double tracked vocals. We don't have layers everywhere. It's just straight, raw, in your face.
And I don't like harmonies. When I did Leather 2, I'm like, that was a little too raw and straight, but I don't know. Harmonies to me, I don't know. I know that they're beautiful, but it's just so freaking predictable. And I like the harmonies, like just words here and there, which Vinny was fine with that. But yeah, they were just really, really cool about it. And again, I found out how much I don't really know. It was really exciting for me. But again, I respect all those people that make you sound. And I just had some guy that did a review of me, and it was really true. He goes, Leather sounds good. She's not trying to recap what she did in the 80s because she doesn't have a voice like that anymore. But she didn't try to cover it up. And that was my thing. It's like, besides the fact that I don't have that range anymore, thank God I sang like a 12-year-old girl. But I don't, I'm a lot like Dio in that aspect. I don't hit these big Helford notes. That's not who I am. It's just important to me to get in the pocket and stay there. I don't do any big notes or, that's just, the record is truly representative of what I am. So it's good. It's cool.
Yeah, you didn't need to for this album. You absolutely didn't need to. I mean, this album just speaks for itself.
Yeah. I just like a wall of sound. I just want to follow a wall of fucking sound. That's all I want. Like I said, I don't need to, I'm not a huge fan of these screamers, which I never were in the 80s, but it's just not what I do. And like Ronnie didn't do it. Ronnie stayed in the fucking pocket. That's all he did. And that's what moves me.
Oh, speaking of Dio, have you seen the documentary yet?
Yeah. I bawled like a baby. I saw it when it came out. I went to San Francisco and saw it at a huge theater. And I went to a theater, dude, where they served you alcohol. They brought alcohol. Yeah. It was tough. Yeah, but I saw it. And I loved that they showed, everyone knew him. He was a wonderful, soft man. But you know what? He was the freaking boss. And if things didn't go his way, it got fixed. So I like that they showed that part of him. He was a boss, yeah.
I heard that there's even more footage they've got for an extended version they might do that's like 5 hours long or something.
I'll be there. But did you see it? I bawled like a baby. Yeah. People thought
I've not been able to see it yet, but I want to. I think it's coming out on Showtime.
It's gonna come out on something or Paramount or something. But yeah, you need to see it. Yeah, he was a goofy guy. Yeah.
So who decided ultimately the track list and what order these songs were going to go in?
Oh, well, we did that together, and I think I got to tell you, we totally agreed on that. When We Take Back Control was the first song we wrote, and we knew. This is the name of the record. This is the first track in the record. When we wrote We Are the Chosen, we knew this is what the record's going to be called. When we wrote Glory in the End, we knew that was Vinny and I are just kind of on the same wavelength about that. But, I'm the boss, but I have to talk everything over with him because of his great guitar playing.
Well, I mean,
and I trust him. He's so pure. He's so pure. I mean, I trust him.
Well, it's totally
And
worth it because
he comes kind of from the fan aspect too, which he reminds me of. He goes, "I'm your fan," so we look at it that way sometimes.
Well, yeah, and a fan's not going to want to see you fail.
Yeah.
So that's really a good way to think about it. That's what caught me as soon as I started, as I hit play on this. We Take Back Control. I mean, what a song to just kick this album off. Your teeth hurt because you got them kicked in. Your ears are bleeding. Your vocals come in, and you're kicking everybody's ass. And it's like, holy crap! What is the next 40-some minutes going to bring me?
And Leather 2, that's one of the things I loved about Leather 2. Juggernaut, the first song, was just fucking intense. And I was saying to V,
yeah, you're right.
Can we write another one like that? But yeah, we knew it set the tone for the whole record. It was a positively pissed off record. My team walked away from me in 19, and it was okay. And I was told, I don't listen to the chatter, but sometimes it's in your fucking face. And people were saying all around, she's never going to do anything else because we're gone. Blow me, watch me.
So you're saying with that record in 2019, the people that produced that record totally walked away.
Yeah. There was It was a lot of stuff that it just came to an end, and it was okay. And I realized talking about this record that I've kind of been lazy, and I just kind of thought everyone always had my best, or agreed with me, not my best interest. And it was just never like that. And it's like, I think it's time, And I was actually saying to Chastain, if I would have known, I didn't see this kind of interest or support in 91 when we stopped doing it. He goes, it probably wouldn't have happened in 91. It was a timing thing for you because he's so supportive. So, yeah, no more, dude. Boss lady, you're looking at her.
Has Chastain heard the record and gave you some feedback?
He always does. But he's very precise. He said, yeah, you sound really good. But, the thing about Chastain is he doesn't promote anything unless it has to do with him. And the record's on his page. The merchandise is on his page. Chastain is so proud of me. And he told me all through the 90s and the 2000s, he's like, you're too good. You need to find somebody to work with. And he was so happy when I found the Brazilians because now I don't bother him to go on the road anymore. He got so sick of it. I'm not touring. Find somebody else. Yeah.
And I'm sure it makes you feel good to still have his support.
Yeah. Because, I thank him all the time. It's because of the songs he wrote. Come on. That's the only reason I'm here. I thank him all the time. Yeah.
So, is it Hallowed Ground? That's your dedication song.
Oh, that's a fantastic song.
Absolutely love it. I think, you hit that one out of the park for what it was meant. What were your thoughts when that one was getting wrote?
Well, a lot of stuff I write for Ronnie are conversations that I had with him, and hallowed ground was a term that came up with him when I was talking to him one time about, I was such a fangirl about how magical he was. And, and also I was Catholic, I'm Catholic like him, so the dichotomy of good and evil is lovely. And I don't know, I was at such peace writing with Vinny, and he always says to me, simple and strong, simple and strong, simple and strong. And I don't know, just that melody came up for me. I don't know, I'm just at such a happy place. And he was hallowed ground for me. So I wish he was here because he would have listened to it and he would have given me his thoughts. But and I'm always from the 80s. I kind of like that. I don't know. You think that's a ballad, you guys? Yeah, it's a ballad.
It's a ballad.
It's a ballad for this album.
Yeah. So, and like I said, I'm so blessed because I never really broke that big. And whenever I have an opportunity to make music, I always do something for him because he's the only reason I sang metal. When I heard Holy Diver as a late bloomer, that I was like, that's it. Because I was goofing around with like Janis Joplin kind of stuff and Bon Scott, and I heard that. I'm like, that's what my voice wants to do. That's what my voice wants. And then I met him, and it was over. It was over.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Holy Diver does it to all of us, and half of us can't sing.
Right.
Yeah, amazing.
So, when you went to, how did you end up doing the videos in Brazil?
Because I knew that the landscape was beautiful, the forests. And Vinny had been up here earlier, and we had checked out some beaches and stuff, and it was cool. But Look, I've surrounded myself. Brazil is just this mecca of creators and film, and it just we met Walter through Marcelo. You know, I'm so involved in this extreme metal community that they just introduced me to these people, and it just made more sense. I don't have a forest like that where I live. It wasn't going to rain. I wasn't going to see the sloth. And I've always loved Brazil from the moment I got there. It's very voodoo.
We're going to bring the sloth back up in a minute.
Brazil is really voodoo and witchy and occulty, and it's just an old country, and you feel it. You know, it's like, ooh.
It's kind of like going down to New Orleans if you're in, you know, the older parts.
New Orleans was the same freaking way when I used to go to the French Quarter. The same kind of positively spooky. Yeah, good call. Yeah.
Okay, so go back to the sloth. Tell us about the sloth. I saw the video and I was like, holy shit.
Look, that was the first day that we were filming, and I was kind of like up in a tower, and I looked outside, and I actually thought it was a dead dog, and I said, holy shit. So I ran across the road, and then I was like, oh my God, Vinny. And you know how he just didn't move. He kept looking. Oh, he was beautiful. I just wanted to hug him and kiss him, but I'm sure he was a little threatened, and we just filmed him, and then we left him alone, and then he climbed up on the tree, you guys, and then he just fell backwards on his back, and he had to go all over again. And I guess, you know, Vinny's lived there his whole life, and he said he's only seen a sloth once, so it was good luck. I was like, holy shit, the coolest thing. And, you know, I'm into animals, so, yeah. First hour of shooting.
Did you name it?
No.
Okay. Well, you never know.
You know, and I might have, because I should ask Vinny, because I always say to someone, oh, this is Henry or whatever, but so cool. Yeah, I'm glad we got him on video and that we weren't, you know, I mean, that was the highlight of the video, not me.
Well, and Kathy just jumped in. She heard you say that you never really made it big, and she said, hogwash, you will always be big in her store.
Thank you very much, Kathy. What I mean by that is I was, you know, I mean, I want to play Vakken before I die. I never really played a lot of Coliseums, and I mean, it's all relative, and oh my God, it's not a pity party for me. I don't know, maybe, what do I mean by that? Maybe being able to make a living off it. I don't know, because Vinny always gets upset with me when I say it. It's like, oh my God, I'm not a rock star. You're a fucking rock star, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I have to agree. I mean, we don't call you the queen of you know, a goddess for nothing.
Well, you know, it's interesting. When I was touring with Chastain, I always had that problem. I guess I'm really not narcissistic enough. The labels and people that were Elektra was following us for a couple years, and I remember this really young boy, beautiful boy, came up to me one time and he was crying. He's like, "Oh my God, I want to marry you," blah blah. And I looked at him in front of the A&R Elektra guy, and I said, "Dude, you don't even know me. You don't love me. You don't." And they got all pissed. "Oh, play the game." But I can't be fake, I guess. So I know that I'm good, but I don't really have much of an ego.
And I think that's why you resonate with fans. You are you. Yeah, you're you. Yeah. You're not putting on this facade of what the typical 80s metal person was like. And it was just, you know, it was just, you know, let me get on stage. If you don't like it, I'm going to throw shit at you. And, you know, right. I don't have time for you as a fan. I know you're the one buying my records, but I don't have time for you. You've been with us on our show twice already. I mean, what other rock star, metal goddess, whatever person would do that for us?
I would think everybody would. Why wouldn't they? You're supporting us. I don't know. It's so bizarre to me. And I learned a lot of that from Ronnie. You know, it's because of you guys that my record's out. I mean, I don't know. And it's interesting you bring that up. Vinny saw something on my Facebook the other day that he took down immediately. There was some African-American guy saying that, "Oh, I met that bitch in the 80s and she was such a racist cunt." And I was like, wow, I don't know what leather he was talking to. But I'm like, maybe he needed some attention. But I don't think there's any reason to be like that. But, you know, if you're like that, you're like that. And when I was in Rude Girl, you guys, you're making me think. I used to walk around and try to be really tough, like, fuck. And it was so fake. I mean, that's not me, you know. I mean, don't fuck with me. But, yeah, I'm a good old upstate cows.
It's in the name, Rude Girl. So you kind of have to be rude.
Exactly. No, we've seen it, you know, as podcast guys, you know, we've seen it because we reach out to so many different people because we want to have conversations with them like this. And it's either no thanks, you're not big enough, or it's just completely ignored. And it's like, we're, like you said, we're trying to do this obviously for us,
Yeah,
but we're doing this for you too because
yeah,
we're supporting the artist.
yeah.
And I
It's
wish
support. It's
more,
absolute support. Yeah.
I wish more thought like you did.
Well, I can imagine also, I know some really famous people, and I know they get caught up in the machine, and I don't think a lot of times they're even aware of what goes on. So it really gets freaky that way about people being able to reach out to you, and I noticed that now a lot of small people are reaching out to me about doing songs and writing together, and
Oh, cool.
and they never think it's me, but you get caught in that. I've never been caught in that machine, but I can imagine. I've had a few conversations with Doro, and there's a freaking machine out there. Sometimes, you're so busy doing your art and somebody else is running your machine. So sometimes it's hard.
Well, and that machine chews a lot of people up and spits them out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
Especially
when
after
you're up, you only go
30.
down, right? There's only one place where to go is down.
That's
And
right.
somebody asked me about two the other day, why I called it two. Besides, it wasn't really that it was my second solo record, but I was saying to Vinny at the time, I'm really comfortable being number two because you can only go up. I don't want to freaking be number one,
Yeah, because then
In
there's only
personal
one way down.
relationships and finding, yeah, I'm safe. I'll stay at number two. I'm safe.
And that constant cycle of album tour, machine is exactly how Richie Sambora described it when he left Bon Jovi. He just couldn't do it anymore.
Insane.
It was
They were
wearing him.
insane. I always say, oh my God, I go out on stage but I don't have their tour schedule. It never freaking stops.
Right.
And you're right. You have success. You just go and go and go. I just actually got offered a buy-on from a pretty big band, and their schedule is like frick. I mean, 3 freaking nights of just craziness, and it's a machine. Money, 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 money. And I've never been caught up in that. I think maybe I would like to try it.
So now that you've brought that up, what are your touring plans, if any?
Many, 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 many. I'm talking to people in South America, Brazil, the US. And this is the thing. They're still really trying to catch up from the pandemic, all the shows and money that they lost in 2020. And I knew this was going to happen, but it's all okay. Now that we're entering into 23, people are now talking to me. I have meetings set up. But it's hard financially and stuff. And I don't think that people realize that I just don't see any reason why I can't be part of a 5-band package. I mean, it's just insane. But I think sometimes when people talk to me, and again, you're talking about ego, people think that I think I'm going to headline this like theater tour. I know what my place is. So, yeah, I just want to tour, and I will. It will happen. Right now, it's probably like mid-year to the end of the year 23, but I'm ready.
I don't see why, though, you couldn't be on all these festivals we see in the summer. I mean, they've got every one of these things.
Dude, so many bands. I know. And again, it will happen, positivity, and this record has done a lot for me to separate me from Chastain. I still get a lot of that, oh, but there's no David. And again, Vinny has proved himself so much on this record. There was someone that did an interview the other day with him, and David Chastain, I love you forever. But they said to him, okay, well, Leather was with Chastain. So we listened to the record, and they said by the end of this record, it was Chastain who. So I was really proud.
Wow.
It's decidedly a Leather record. I mean, it establishes that sound.
Yeah.
It's all of your influences. You hear Dio in your voice. You hear Halford. I hear Dickinson sometimes.
I steal a lot from him. Thank you. I steal a lot from him. I've been noticing lately.
So all of that, though, is Leather. And it just sounds like you. And that's what you want.
Yeah, and it's okay. It's okay. I really have to prove myself, and I will do that. I have no worries about it. And I said to Vinny the other day, let's keep writing. So if we don't get picked up quickly, we'll just slam them with another record. I've been gone a long time. I mean, and there's a lot to be said for people that have continued to work and show their art. Then I've been gone, and I'm like, okay, here I am, I'm back. And they're like, oh, okay, well, what do you got? And I understand. So
I want to go back to Vinny for a second. Who are his influences?
Oh my God, everybody. I ask him that all the time. He listens to all those blues guitar players. I know Satriani's one. I know Michael Firkin. Michael Firkin, is that his name? It's Hendrix a little bit, but it's all shit. I feel so bad though but it's all blues guitar players, all bluesy people.
That's what I was expecting you to say, was something in blues, because again, I go back to Shadows, which is, probably one of my top song or top two. And just how it starts off, just it kicks off real bluesy, and then your voice coming in. I mean, you're just as bluesy.
What's so funny? What's so funny? I always go to him, fuck the blues, dude. It's a metal record. So every night he sends me a video of how there is no metal without blues. He's like, you like Sabbath, it's all blues. But yeah, they're all blues-based guitar players. He's not into shredding people very much. I think maybe Pat Metheny's one of them. But bluesy. Yeah. And like I said, I wish you could hear his solo stuff. It's beautiful. It's a tearjerker, his solo stuff.
I get yelled at by certain people that might be in the chat when I point out certain blues-based bands, and they're like, "No, it's not," but it is.
And I love Zeppelin. Oh my God, I love freaking Zeppelin. What is Zeppelin? Yeah.
Right. I pointed out one time.
I was just saying to him again the other night. I said, I'm going to be more on top of your solos. Some of them get a little too bluesy for me. And then he sent me a thing that showed the constrictions of metal chords and then what you can do with blues chords. It's just my ignorance. It's my ignorance that's talking. Because, oh my God, Sabbath is like my number one band in the world, and it's bluesy, right?
Well, and you're talking about insecurities before. It may be just something creeping up saying, oh my gosh, we got to stay metal. We got to stay metal.
Yeah. My friend Veronica Freeman, remember she put out the rock record, and now I know somebody. And sometimes people say to me, David Harbour from Chastain, a few years ago, he came out and he goes, I need to explore your voice. I think we need to do like some Tori Amos. And I'm like, dude, I'm a metal singer. I don't need to do a country record. I don't need to do it. This is all I want to do, And the video guy wanted us to do an acoustic thing of Vinny and I singing We Are the Chosen. I'm like, mother of fucking God. It's an acoustic guitar. But so, yeah, I think it's really important for me, for some reason, to be metal. I don't know, it's just important.
I mean, I could totally see you doing, like a slow rendition of like Islands in the Stream or something,
I had a friend one time, you guys. I was in LA and I can't think of it, but he was jamming on. So I think I told you the story. His acoustic guitar, we were drinking some wine and we were doing Beatles songs. And he looked at me and he said, it's a really good thing that you sing metal because that's all you got. I'm like, yeah, but yeah, I like I said, I have to send me this link when you have it, because Vinny, I give him so much grief, and he seems to be so surprised when people are talking about his work. I'm like, you don't understand how good you made me sound on this record. I can't imagine I couldn't have done it with anybody else, any other guitar players that I've reached out to work with. And he's a really hard worker, and basically he's the only one that stood by me, and said, let's try. I said, okay.
So you're saying, like, throughout your career, people have tried to do everything under the sun with you, and you keep pushing them back to metal.
Yeah. And I've tried. I mean, as a vocalist, I realized there was some shit I would just try for Vinny that I knew. And I don't know, maybe I need to be more eclectic and do other things, but why? I'm a freaking metal singer.
Don't do it.
It's really important to me. I mean, that's what I do, dude. What am I going to do? Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Right. And when
I know that's my strength. That's my strength. I know that.
Right. And when you sat on the sidelines as long as you have, what time do you have to waste? You might as well do metal.
Thank you, Jude. That's the beauty of getting older too, that your window's closing and you just go, I mean, Vinny, we had nothing to lose. We had nothing to freaking lose. Let's go make a record. Let's put it out. We got nothing to lose. And I think I wish I would have had that attitude when I was younger, because it's like, oh yeah, 5 years, whatever. No, we got to do it now.
So once you found your label, did they, and I don't know, you might not be able to say much about this if there's anything at all, but did they want anything changed before your release?
Nothing.
Oh, no. That's great.
He was so happy with it.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about the volume, but that was on leather too. No, he was like, cool, perfect, it's going. Where the video, yeah, no, he liked it. Not a word. He was pretty floored too, because I'm not really sure what people expected. But no, Ali, I love you, Ali Han from SPV's team member. No, he was like, cool. Here's the papers. Give me your signature.
Nice. Have you received mainly just positive reception all over the place?
Yeah. You know, there's obviously trolls, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
very, very positive. And of course, I've gotten a lot of new fans, which is great. It's like, you know, we used to listen to you in 1927, Ruler of the Wasteland, and we just saw your name, and yeah, it's been really, 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 really positive. Yeah.
The one of the obviously one of the big internet places that Ace and I follow is Blabbermouth, and they're not afraid.
Oh!
They're not afraid to tell somebody their shit sucks when it sucks. I'm gonna read the last little paragraph when they did the review for yours, and it says, "This is not just a fine and ferocious melodic metal record, but one of the most powerful records she has ever made. We Are the Chosen is what happens when greatness grits its teeth and keeps chasing the dream. Leather forever, this fucking slays." I mean, how much better can it get?
I know. Ali sent that to me, and like Vinny doesn't really understand. I said, "What you want to get attention from Blabbermouth and Brave Words? That's who you are." Yeah, no shit. I mean, I was bawling. I got in touch with him and said, "Thank you." So, yeah, because and they're allowed to be brutal, but they're brutal. Yeah, that was fucking amazing. Yeah. I still post it, you guys. I still post it.
You have to. Just in case you didn't see it, here it is again.
So appreciative. So appreciative. I mean, fuck yeah. Yeah, I was really, really happy. But again, I knew that it was a good record. You know, I was really worried with 2 when it came out, because I was like, oh shit, the first thing without Chastain. And that was really cool too. But it's funny, Vinny and I we cannot listen to that record. We're like, but yeah, Blabbermouth. Thank you, Blabbermouth.
Yeah, I'll give Blabbermouth a shout out for sure. And the reason I had asked about that is because everywhere I've looked and everything I've read, I've not seen anything negative. You know, not even about a single track. And I'm not going to say I was looking for it, but when you type in, you know, We Are the Chosen Leather Leone reviews, I want to read and see what other people think.
Sure.
Yeah, me too. And there's actually been some people that were really honest and said, you know, I was never a fan of Leather Leone. I knew she was there. I listened to her stuff, but they're like, yeah, good record. No, I appreciate their honesty, you know. And who believes the hype, dude? Come on. I mean, the hype or the negativity, it's all that, you know, it's all they're saying.
Yeah,
I can't imagine being famous, because seriously, when I have a day of interviews, and oh my God, I'm so appreciative. I'm not being a bitch, but sometimes it's really hard for like 20 people just to tell you how great you are. So appreciated, but you know, I'm not great. I'm good, and sometimes it's overwhelming. I just do music, and I try to do the best I can. So I don't know how famous people do it. Maybe that's why they're crabby. I mean, the bombardment of the fake, not fake, but of how amazing you are. It's just too. It's crazy.
You said fake. You said fake in both.
I didn't mean to say fake.
Well, the funny thing is, both Ace and I both kind of raised our eyebrows, because a lot of times that's exactly what it is. It's people who are just around famous people, and they're fake because they think, oh, I'm going to be friends with them. I would rather sit and talk with you for 6 hours and be completely brutally honest and tell you whether I think cottage cheese sucks. Or, you know, instead of saying, oh, you've got the best, you know, pancakes in the world and they really suck.
Yeah, and I guess it's just because that's what social media is, right? There's no consequence to what you're saying. And it's funny. Sometimes I answer the people, and Vinny's like, don't. There was a guy on the video that said, what did he say? Oh, he made some comment about, because of my jacket, he was talking about Michael Jackson. And he said, he goes, it looks like Michael Jackson, the corpse of Michael Jackson or something. And then they said something like, it's so nice to see a mother and son team, but really kind of mean. So I responded to him like, ha,
good for you.
And he freaked out. He's like, oh my, I'm getting all this private stuff. Is that really you? I said, you know what? It's fine, but there has to be consequences to your fucking bullshit. We all think that we can say fuck you, dude. Then don't. And Josh Kramer's lovely too, but I was like he goes, oh, I just said it as a joke. And I'm like, okay, haha, funny. But you are going to be held accountable. But doesn't hurt my feelings. makes people listen to the record, right? But yeah, the
So
Michael Jackson corpse.
so you got 50 more views on the video just from that, that comment.
Exactly. But I don't know. People think it makes them powerful. Like I said, there are no consequences. So I think that's what I meant. It's not fake, but everybody, they kind of jump in the bandwagon. I don't know. It's not fake, but to me, it's just crazy. And social media is like that. Oh my God, you're beautiful. Oh my God, blah, 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 blah. Do you know what what's the name of the song? Do you know? Do you know what I was saying?
Yep. Do you know what the meaning is behind it? Do you know why that's the name of the album?
Well, and this shows again.
But you know what, you guys? I just read an article that Ronnie had said a while ago, and I thought it was really cool. He said, I interpret songs for people. He goes, I write them and let them tell me what they think. And I was like, wow. He goes, everyone do their own thing. I'm like, wow. Damn, I blew it. I should have said, there's no meaning. You tell me.
Yeah, I've been trying to come up with a reason for this song. Tell me.
Yeah, tell me what it is. Yeah.
But that goes back, though, what you were saying before, when you talk about not having an ego, not being a narcissist, just because someone tells you you're amazing, it doesn't always mean you're amazing.
Exactly. Right. You're right. It's not a solid affirmation. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess you're only amazing when you think, who's amazing? It just, I don't know. And like I said, I don't believe the negativity or the hype. It's lovely. Right. Thank you so much. But
in your mind, you're probably thinking, well, amazing is Ronnie James Dio, and I've not hit that level.
If I hear one more person call me a legend, oh my God, I'm not a legend. I'm a chick that sings metal and I'm good. But yeah, and everybody throws these words around, love, legend, queen. And it's just too much, it's too much. Because I don't believe it, so,
But sometimes the fans are right, though.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, but it's weird. It's weird. Oh my God. So yeah, I'm okay. But thank you, everyone.
But you got to look. You got to look at those people that have been listening to you from the '80s, and when you went away for a while and then you came back. For them, it was like the resurrection, and there's leather, and you are that queen. You are that goddess that came back, and people appreciate that. And now they get this freaking album. And it's like you were like, hey, guess what, bitches? I ain't going anywhere. And then you freaking slay it again.
That's what a lot of the reviews have been saying too. Like, oh, what if the bitch is back or whatever. Yeah, I'm so happy. I'm so happy everybody likes it. And I'm very grateful for people like you.
Well, the best part too is that we have the record. You're talking about touring, and you're talking about another record. You're going full tilt.
Yeah, Vinny's locked in. I'm like, you aren't going anywhere. Because, of course, he's getting a lot of attention now and, getting all these offers. So I'm like.
Yeah, don't steal him away.
No, I wish the best for him. He's so young. I mean, I'm like, look, we can all walk away each other for Sabbath. When Sabbath I'm going. When Sabbath calls you, we're going,
Are you
cool, you guys?
Go ahead, sorry.
No, I really need to go. I've been talking a long time. I love you so much. I wish I was with you.
Okay, well, listen, Leather, we'll let you go. Thank you so much for joining in.
Much.
We're gonna keep this broadcast going, and myself and Ace are gonna keep going. So we will be in touch with you again. And we thank you for jumping in.
When I get a tour, I'll come on and we'll talk about it.
Oh, you're gonna come close to Indiana because we're gonna go.
Of course, I have to do Indiana.
Absolutely.
Bye, you guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Leather.
Thank you. Ciao.
Well, I tell you what, that was great.
It was. She's a great person to talk to.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I mean, you could hear in the background she had some peeps there, so she had to go. And it was kind of abrupt, but hey, that's the life of a rock star.
That's right, and that's why I didn't get around to telling her. She was talking about. We were talking about people that we would rather talk to and have conversations with. She's top of the list.
Oh, most definitely.
And no one. There's no fakery, which is what she's talking a lot about, because what we're talking about right there with her, we could sit on her couch in her living room and have the same conversation, and she's going to act the same way.
Oh, yeah.
You and I both know that. Talked to her. How many times have we talked to her now? 4?
Yeah, at least.
Off and on the air. So just a very genuine person.
Yeah,
What
and
you see is what you get.
I I go back to exactly what I have a hole in my sock and I had to fix it. Uh, I go back to exactly what we were saying in regards to reaching out to other people. We reach out to artists, we reach out to actors, we reach out to a number of people, and some of them are just they blow you off.
Right.
I can remember one day sending off at a minimum 12 contacts and never hearing back from a single one. Now, somebody might say, well, how do you know that's the right way to contact them? Well, because we do our research. We know whether it's social media or whether it's a publicist or whatever. We know what we have to do to reach out. It's when they don't respond that kind of puts their ego in question because our we're good enough. We're just two dudes, fans of whoever we're reaching out to. We're not, we're not making any money off of this. They're not going to make any money from us because I'm not going to pay somebody to come on this show.
No.
This is a podcast, and this is what we do: is we have people on to spread their word. Look at Cassandra. We had Cassandra Carson on. She was on because she was like, heck yeah, let's get the Life Project a little bit more info as well as Paralandra. So she comes on and does that. Um, uh, Reggie just a couple
Right.
weeks ago. If we were going to do something like strictly, famous people, if you will, famous, then we wouldn't have had Lil TBT on last week.
Right.
But the funny thing is, her video, her episode, and you and I talked about this earlier, it is the third highest watched episode, or the third or fourth, including famous people.
Right. People that have some skin in the game.
Yeah. That people recognize out in the streets. So it's more about content, and somebody like Leather comes on. I mean, everybody can chime in. She talks 90 miles a minute because she's just got so much to say, but she's so genuine. She's
Yeah.
not sitting back with sunglasses on, smoking a cigarette. Just it was a good record.
She gives you content.
Oh
Just
yeah.
by her conversation. Well, even if you can converse, because she's 90 miles an hour, like you said.
Yeah, and
But
all we have to say is record deal. Oh, let me tell you about the record deal. And she's
right.
going on. She's carrying the show to where we don't get questions in or whatever. But
The
I would
next
rather
week-
have that. Yeah, I would rather have that than to have somebody just not even respond. It's like,
Right.
don't be a dick. You were relevant in 1982. You're trying to stay relevant. We're trying to help you because we were fans of you in 1982, 87, whatever it is. And I can think of a couple in my head that I've reached out to that are not relevant anymore, but they fit the nostalgia of what we would talk about.
Right. But in their head, they got to watch out who they talk to.
Yeah. But did they worry about who they talked to back in the 80s? No, they'll go on Phil Donahue. They'll go on, Ricky Lake or whatever and sit with Adam Carolla or whatever. But I don't know. Whatever. We're going to continue reaching out to people. We're going to continue doing conversations. I don't like to call them interviews, but we'll do conversations with people. And we're going to do it with those that want to do it.
I appreciate even if I get the manager to respond.
Oh, totally.
Even if they shut me down at some point in our conversation, at least I got somewhere. But like you said, when they do nothing,
Yeah, it's irritating, but we move on, and we know that. Natalie, I did say Phil Donahue. There are some that you're like, Come on. Or somebody that just got off tour and you're like, man, I want to jump in on that and see if they want to continue that trend of trying to get stuff. But I don't know. But for everybody that's listening and or watching, we're not going to stop looking for people.
Well,
but if you
did you see the cool thing we got in our email, the Weekly Pour podcast email? And if you want to email us, you can at weeklypourpodcast@gmail.com. We got an email from a representative company, an artist representative company. I don't know if you looked at it. I did, because I'm like, cool. They're reaching out to us.
I'm in this now, and I don't know which one you're talking about.
It was about a week ago, and I meant to mention it to you. But the only thing is, and their stature doesn't matter, because most of them are people I've never heard of. But they have.
I did see that.
Yeah, they have records out, but most of them are not what we're interested in. But I thought, that's really cool. That's what you should do. Is hey, that podcast might want someone on here, and we want promotion.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what it's about. It's about promotion, and it's about we'll promote you as long as you fit within our standards. And we're members of a few different websites that where people look for podcasts, or they look for podcasts, and we have basically a set of rules that we go by. We'll talk about music. We'll talk about wrestling, drinks, beverages, bourbon, whatever. We'll talk about anything that's funny. Hell, we had the Therapy Twins on, and we talked about therapy. Right. We had Sarah on, and we talked about sex and, all that. But the only thing we were not going to talk about is politics.
Right.
There's enough of that out in the world. We've mentioned that before. We don't need to talk about politics. We've talked about ghosts, like Natalie just said, just last week. We talk about ghosts. We'll basically talk about anything except for politics.
Yeah, next week, Bat Boy's coming on.
Who?
Bat Boy.
Okay. But yeah, that's the thing. And you would think. Now, we do get some that are like, hey, I think I'd be a great fit for your podcast. And then we go and look at it. When Ace and I see these things, we have to think, can we carry a show for an hour?
Right.
Talking about this dude's music, this dude's book. Do we have a history with that person? And a lot of times it's no. And right now we just kind of thank them, but tell them we're focusing on other things. It's not to be a dick.
No, we're wanting.
But we got a show to cover.
Yeah, and we want it to grow, and we want it to grow in a way that we want it to be.
Right.
We have, like you said, a standard.
Yep.
Like the promotional email we got was all country artists, and we have discussed country on there, but I don't know that either one of us would be able to discuss this type of music. I don't know. It's not really what we get into.
Yeah, it's not our thing all the time. But if we find that one artist, because if we can book them far enough ahead, which is, this is no secret, we're going to do our research, especially if we don't know anything about them. And by the time we have them on, well, we're going to know everything, and we're going to be like, heck yeah, I watched that video, and you were there with, what's her name, and we're going to make it as impressive as possible, because that's part of the process of putting together a show.
Right. The first interview we had with Leather, I know both of us.
Right.
I spent 2 weeks reading interviews, listening to music, interviews, listening to music. And that's part of the preparation.
Exactly. It's no different than studying for a test, before your class in high school or whatever. Natalie just says, hey, I don't have a mug. Well, you know what? That sucks. Because we do. Anyway, yeah, so if there happens to, what about Clay Anderson? He's a hometown boy. And that was from Natalie, because
we actually discussed that, didn't we?
We did.
We did.
I'd be fine with it. I mean, again, this goes back to what Ace just said a second ago. Country music, it's not really our thing. But it might be something that he would be interested in doing to maybe get some more of his following out there, which
I
is
will
fine.
say, I have seen him, like a lot of people around here have. I have seen him, and he does put on a really good show.
Sure. She said, or Chase. I would not have. I couldn't do enough research to carry a show for an hour talking to Chase Briscoe about NASCAR. That is just me. I'm just being honest. Now
We'd have to have Toby back on.
We've had Toby on board,
We'd have
and
him on to help us with that.
yeah, Toby is the what do we call him? The social media manager, I
Right.
guess, for Chase Briscoe Racing. And Toby was great. And as a matter of fact, I just ran into him last week. So yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of like, yeah, he got up.
Okay.
There's a bunch of people, I guess, locally, but you know, when we started this show, all that we needed was, oh, I'm sorry, I got stuck on Motley Crue. When we started this, we wanted to definitely reach out and see what we could do 80s metal wise. And you see, we have had so many 80s metal guests that it's ridiculous. But we just got to the point where it's like almost, I don't want to say we don't care. We're just like, hey, whoever we can get, we'll get. And if we like it, great. If not, then we won't have you on the show. It was important for us from, gosh, I don't remember which episode it was, but it was important for us to have Leather on again.
Yes.
Because we talked about that when she was on originally, when we were discussing her new album coming out. So that was great. But there'll be others. There'll be some others. There's a
and we're still working on some for next year. So
yeah,
you talked about it. We've been in touch with one that should be a great interview if it happens.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to talk about it in detail because that seems to jinx me.
Right.
Eric Elania.
Yeah, we won't mention that at all. However, if we land it, it would just be, it would be, for me, it would be at the top. Well, it would be number 2, just under Lil TBT.
Right.
But you know, we're still going to keep reaching out to different people. There's a couple of them. There was one, and you were talking about our email. We had one that we talked to about a month ago that has been on hundreds of other shows. And I believe he reached out to us.
Yes.
And said, hey, I'd like to come on your show if you're interested, because there was something that he does or something about him. And I went and looked, and I was like, daggone, you know, this might be a good thing. And he's been on the radio before, done all kinds of different things. So we're kind of looking forward to that. We just have to, just like everybody else, we got to get through the holidays.
Right.
We got to get through Christmas. We got to get through New Year. We've got to get our schedules toned back down, because and Ace knows, because my schedule this week and next week is ridiculous. So like I got home 20 minutes before this podcast.
Yep.
Which is no big deal when you're just recording it, but when you're live, that's a whole different story. So yeah. Natalie and Kathy are arguing in the chat about who's got a mug and who doesn't have a mug. Well, guess what? You still don't have a mug.
Oh, I did go price t-shirts. I'll tell you about that later.
Okay. Well, listen, we've done our hour. We have fulfilled our obligation to you, the listener, for tonight. So we're going to jump off of here. Kathy is double hurt. So
we've had these mugs for weeks. They're just now noticing.
Yeah, I know. We've been drinking at them like literally like this. And they just now notice.
I can't. Yeah, there it is.
Just now notice. Natalie says, "Can I at least have a T-shirt?" No, we don't have any. So I'm just going to hold this here. I want to thank Kathy for Music and More Records. You're very much appreciated. Even you better hide yours whenever you get company.
Oh shit!
Yeah, bring it to my office. We'll lock them up.
And she's an expert. I mean, we'll have to talk about that later. She's very good at making things disappear when she
Okay.
wants to.
We'll
Yeah.
talk about that here in about 30 seconds. Anyway, Kathy at Music and More Records, we appreciate you as always. Jason at Bad Company Barbecue, go check him out at badcompanyBarbecue.com, on the Insta webs and the Facebooks and all that fun stuff, same as Kathy. Be sure when you're watching our podcast on YouTube, whether it's live or later on, that you hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, because that helps us help you. If you got something to say, email us at theweeklypourpodcast at gmail.com. That's theweeklypourpodcast at gmail.com. Again, I am TBT. That guy over there is Ace. Right in the middle was Leather, but she had to depart because she got people showing up. We'll be back. Will we be back next week? I don't even know.
I don't know.
I don't know. We might be back next week. If not, then what is next week? Oh, next week's like...
That's my crazy week. I can't
Yeah.
do that. No.
We won't be here. Well, we won't, but I'm thinking I might be. It might be the weekly pour with TBT only.
You put a mark through my name.
I'll put a still picture of you up.
There you go.
That's exactly what I'll do here. As a matter of fact, let me do this. Let me get a picture of you. Okay, got it. I'm totally gonna. Who knows? I might. My schedule's crazy, including next Tuesday, but hopefully I'll be back in time. Anyway, we'll figure it out. Natalie says she'll run the show even when we're not here. So everybody that was in the chat, everybody that was watching, thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to email us at theweeklypourpodcast at gmail.com. Have a Merry Christmas. This is Tuesday, the 20th. Have a
20th.
great Christmas. And we'll talk to you again next week. So then we'll do the whole New Year thing. But if you are in the Midwest, the Northeast, or wherever, and this big snowstorm's coming, I hope
shelter.
Take shelter. If you don't have to go anywhere, don't. Stay off the flippin' roads if you see snow and ice. I can't reiterate that enough. Stay off the damn roads. It's not that hard. Follow direction. People don't want you to get hurt. I mean, it's easy, right?
Right.